everyone, and welcome back to another Storytime video. Today I am going to talk about the time in which football games were played while I was in school. Now I'm talking about this partly because school is starting up for some people, but mainly it's because college football is kicking off. There were some games that were played last Saturday, and there were some games that were played yesterday and some tonight. Of course, a lot of games being played tomorrow night, or tomorrow, not just tomorrow night, but tomorrow the whole day. It's Saturday tomorrow. And Saturday or Sunday night is Florida State versus LSU. And then Monday night, I don't know who's playing Monday night, but there are games being played on Monday night as well. So, you have that to look forward to as well. So, there's games the next 5 days. But yeah, so this was when I was going to a private school. And we, well, because it was a private school, we didn't have to, exactly listen to the county. Like, for example, if the public schools had a snow day, we didn't take snow days necessarily. If I remember correctly, we would always take the first snow day that the public schools took. Beyond that, it was iffy as in regards to whether we would take that that snow day. But so this particular year, Monday was the 2nd, and Sunday was the 1st. So, well, the 1st of January. I say that to say that when it happens where the 1st of the year is Sunday, the Rose Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, well, maybe not the Fiesta Bowl anymore. This was before the college football playoff system. This was with the old BCS system. Where you had a bunch of bowl games, a bunch of the now New Year's Six, played on the 1st. As opposed to maybe the 1st, maybe not the 1st. But regardless, back then, if the 1st of the year fell on a Sunday, the NFL always got to play their games on the 1st, on Sunday. And that the Rose Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, the Outback Bowl, all those bowls that were traditionally played on January 1st were played on January 2nd. And for some reason, my principal I had at the time wanted us to go back on that Monday, the 2nd. So, I was in school during some of the noon bowl games, like or well, the noon, 11, 10, or 9 o'clock, depending on where you live. But yeah, so during the Fiesta Bowl, the Capital One Bowl, uh, did I just say the Fiesta Bowl? No, the Outback Bowl, the Capital One Bowl, oh shoot, other bowl games like that are still a thing, by the way. But yeah, so those bowl games were being played while I was at school, and a lot of those bowl games had either finished or were finishing up right when I was getting home from school. So I hated that I had to miss that. But yeah, my sister, who was going to public school at the time, got to go back Wednesday the 4th, by the way. So yes, that was certainly an experience that will probably never happen again, as I'm done with high school. Now I'm done with college, by the way. To the point where unless I went back to school for something else, which I kind of doubt, but it's still a possibility that could happen. I'm not completely ruling it out, but I mean, I am pretty satisfied with what I went to school for, so maybe, but I doubt it. But yeah, so unless I went back to school again and did even more college, I highly doubt that this would happen ever again. So it was a very unique thing, to say the least. As before this, when I figured out that if games were being played on weekdays, particularly I found this out from the NFL, although I found out eventually that there was a primetime college football game every Friday night during the season, I never thought that football during school would be a thing. But lo and behold, a year or two after I had these thoughts of it would never happen, it happened because the way the calendar fell, and because I went to a private school where the principal decided to go back to school on January 2nd and not a day like January 4th. And because the 1st was a Sunday, so those games that would normally be played on the 1st were played on the 2nd. So it was a quote-unquote perfect storm of events to happen in order for this to be possible. But yeah, this wouldn't be as big of a deal now, because I could easily go back and watch these games on YouTube. But it wasn't as easy back then. It wasn't quite as easy as it is now. It was still somewhat easy, but not quite. So I'm not trying to give the impression that it was difficult. I mean, I certainly didn't know, so oh well, I can go back and watch these games years later and think about this very day where football happened during school. But yeah, so tell me down in the comments as I drop my pen again, as I'm basically playing with a pen in my hand. Tell me down below your favorite college and NFL team if you're into both. If you're not into both, that's perfectly fine. Uh, I understand why people would like one but not the other. So, I mean, it's ultimately your decision. So, it's your life to live. So if you don't care about either one or one or the other, that's up to you, my man. But yeah, so my favorite college football team is the South Carolina Gamecocks, and the NFL team I really like are the Carolina Panthers. Both teams are breaking in new quarterbacks that have played other places before, and that I am hoping can kind of turn around the fortunes of both teams, especially the Panthers. I have been a fan of Baker Mayfield's since he was at Oklahoma. So I'm excited. I hope it works out. But then again, I got really excited about Sam Darnold, and look at how that turned out. So far, not so good, but there's definitely time where that can change. But I'm kind of doubting where it can change right now because of the fact that he's a backup, and I don't think, barring injury, that he would be a starter again for Carolina. But that's just me. I'm also hoping that Spencer Rattler helps shore up the quarterback situation in Columbia, as it was not a good time. I mean, the three quarterbacks Carolina had weren't god awful last year, but they're certainly not to the level that Rattler's at right now. I mean, I don't think Rattler would succeed in the NFL, but he doesn't need to succeed in the NFL for South Carolina to be successful with him under center. But yeah, I'm at the point though, as a fan of either team, where for South Carolina, I hope for at least 4 or 5 wins, and more than likely a bowl game. I think a bowl game is achievable, but I could see a scenario where they miss it by a game or two, honestly. And for the Panthers, I honestly think that the Panthers will go as far as Baker goes. Well, of course, but it's definitely the case where Sam Darnold played well early in the season. Panthers got off to a great start. Then he struggled, and they just didn't do anything in the final 3 quarters of the season. But I think that, a lot of people are saying wild card for the Panthers. I'm not too sure about that. I just hope that the Panthers don't fall flat on their faces. That's honestly what I'm hoping for. Is that hopefully the defense gets a little bit better. The defense is good, but the defense could be a little bit better. And I'm hoping that the offensive line improvements and drafting Ikem Ekwonu really helps out. I mean, I have been wanting the Panthers to draft an offensive lineman in the first 2 rounds. I think they drafted one in the 3rd round a few years ago. Little from Ole Miss, I believe. That's his name. But in my eyes, if you draft linemen over and over again, eventually you're going to hit. So I was really glad that they drafted Ikem Ekwonu. I thought they were going to go Kenny Pickett. I really did. And apparently Pickett has looked good in preseason play. But regardless of that, I'm going to say it now. Just like I said in April and leading up to that. I don't like Pickett as a quarterback. I don't. I would not have drafted him 1st round, that's for sure. But, I thought that there were several players that were going to be tremendous players that didn't pan out that way. So, yeah, I am not a professional. So take it for what it is. I mean, preseason doesn't really mean a whole lot in terms of starters. Like, I get that it does matter in the sense that people are battling for roster spots, but it doesn't matter as much, of course. I mean, in the preseason in Cam Newton's rookie year, people were so concerned. They thought that he was a step slower than everybody. And maybe he was in that preseason, but when it got time to play the games and play against starters, he played well. He played well. I get he didn't win a Super Bowl, and that's a lot of people's only metric that they look at, but regardless, he think he did all right for himself. I don't think he was a bust. So, yeah. And so, yes, guys, I do believe that will do it for this storytime video. And till next storytime video, I will see you all later. Goodbye, guys! Thank you all for watching.